We're taking heavy damage. Where's that new clone battalion?
Over there, sir. Coming down the ridge.
Yeah, the enemy is retreating. Well done, troopers. What do you call yourselves?
CT-667, 777, and 115 of the Pinot Squadron reporting in, sir.
Pinot Squadron? I'm not familiar with you. Take off your helmets so I can see your faces, brothers. What the...
Welcome back to Rewind with bschwitty, because a great leap forward often requires first taking 2 steps back. No, I haven't lost my mind and started celebrating May the 4th a week early.
Right.
But do expect a special episode next Wednesday on the Wines of Star Wars for Revenge of the 5th, on top of the usual fun we have on May the 4th. No, today we have been asked to take a look at clones. No, not that kind of clones. Wine grape varietal clones. Before we get into the intricacies of grape clones, we need to understand how wine grapes are grown. I'm not going to take you through the growing season or anything, but you need to understand that when a vineyard is starting out, the vines are not grown from seeds. If we were to plant grapevine seeds, even seeds from the same grape varietal like Cabernet Sauvignon, the end result would be a wild variation of vines and grapes. We would get red grapes, white grapes, Cab Sauv grapes with heavy characteristics of Cab Franc, or the same, but with heavy characteristics of Sauvignon Blanc, as those varietals are the parents of Cab Sauv. This is what is known in horticulture as not true breeding. How do wine growers combat the wild variety grapes can possess inside their seeds? There are 2 answers actually: field budding and bench grafting. Both methods involve using rootstock. You might remember from past episodes that vines are susceptible to certain diseases and infestations, and many American rootstocks are resistant to them because a lot of the diseases that are harmful to Vitis vinifera originated in the colonies, which the vines here had already adapted to. For field budding, wine growers grow the disease-resistant rootstock, sometimes up to 2 years before chopping off the top of it and then replacing them with buds from Vitis vinifera. This upper side is known as the scion. Whereas when using the bench graft method, the scion and rootstock are grafted together in a nursery and grown for about a year before being planted in the vineyard. It'll still take some time to grow to a proper size, so neither process really saves time, but the bench grafts will save the labor of splicing the rootstock and buds together later. But we're halfway through the episode now and you're asking the question, what does any of this have to do with clones? I hear you, Lauren. Hang on. Because all of that was important to understand. We can't just plant seeds and have uniform wine grapes spring from the ground. Then how is it that wine growers can produce tons of grapes that all share similar characteristics year in and year out? Because they're all clones! Clones! But not in the Dolly the Sheep way. Is that reference too dated? Gemini Man. It's not in the Gemini Man way. What I'm trying to say is these clones aren't the same as lab-grown genetic clones like Superboy or the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park. In the case of these grapes, essentially the buds or cuttings that get grafted onto the rootstock we talked about are taken from pre-existing vines. Pre-existing vines that have been specifically cultivated, some for centuries at this point, to have characteristics and produce grapes with flavors that are desirable and varietal specific. So big mystery solved from a horticultural perspective. All wine grape vines are clones of an original mother plant that had the characteristics winemakers and grape growers of the past decided it should have for any given varietal. How wild is that? The idiom standing on the shoulder of giants has never been more apt. But that's not why you clicked on this video, is it? Are you not impressed? All modern wine grapes are clones. No, you're really here because you're interested in learning about different clones of the same varietal, like the clone troopers of Pinot Squad in the intro. Sorry, that's not what we're here for today. There are nearly 1,000 clones of Pinot Noir alone. It would take half a day to just briefly discuss traits of each. A cool resource to look into if you're studious about this stuff is the Foundation Plant Service website from UC Davis, one of the grape nurseries that list all their available clone varietals for purchase. I'll leave a link in the description below for their Pinot Noir selection. Each clone has a little blurb about its background and history. The only thing it doesn't do is tell flavor characteristics of the resulting wines. Now, this chart from VinePair claims to focus on 7 common clones of Pinot and their profiles. But let's be honest, VinePair hasn't had the most reliable infographics in the past when it comes to wine pairings, so I'm not endorsing this chart without doing my own personal research, which is what I will be doing when we continue this on Friday with a Pinot Noir clone taste test. All that said, what we can do today to finish out this episode is talk about some common clones of prevalent grape varietals used here in the United States. We opened the episode with Pinot Noir Dijon clones 667, 777, and 115. These are supposed to have come from Burgundian vineyards that produce the highest quality Burgundies in the region, and they are characterized by their smaller berries, earlier ripening, and expressive aromatics. Oregon Pinot producers were excited to get these to replace their common Pommard clone, which is also from Burgundy and has good tannin and deep color, as well as the Wadenswil clone from Switzerland, which produces large clusters and offers higher acidity. The theory was that these revered Pinot Noir clones would produce better quality Pinot in Oregon than the clones that preceded them. But even now, Oregon winemakers still use a wide variety of Pinot clones, and the Dijon clones haven't pushed out the quote-unquote lesser clones from the region. But the uneducated, which is no longer you now that you've made it this far, can easily be swayed into purchasing the wine just by hearing the exotic backstory of certain clones from the tasting room staff. Chardonnay has a fun history in the US, as the Wente clone of Chardonnay is the most well known because Wente Vineyards, which I went to when a friend of mine worked there, was one of 2 commercial Chardonnay vineyards to survive Prohibition. So an array of Chardonnay clones in the States can be traced back to Wente. But just like with Pinot Noir, Oregon winemakers brought Dijon clones of Chardonnay here as well. Now we'll close out our common clones by mentioning Cabernet Sauvignon's FPS 07 and FPS 08, which came from Con Canyon Vineyard in Livermore, California, but were thought to have come from Bordeaux originally. These clones are widely planted and produce higher yields while maintaining quality. There is FPS 47 as well, which is French clone 337, and it is another popular Cab Sauv clone that produces smaller berries and wine that is known for aging well. So now that you know a little bit more about what clones are, join me Friday when I taste 4 different single clone Pinot Noirs and see how different they taste. Let me know if I can answer any questions you have in the comments below. Please smash that like button, share this with your friends, and smash the bell icon to get notified when new episodes come out. Head to rewindshow.com to subscribe to my YouTube page if you haven't already. You can also find Rewind on Instagram at @RewindShow, where we upload episodes to IGTV and post some extra content for your Instagram consumption. I can also be found on Twitter under the handle @bschwitty. This has been Rewind. My name is bschwitty, and I will catch you Friday.